Hey everyone, Happy Computer Guy here. Today we're diving deep into a really important topic, building ethics directly into the advanced AI systems that are becoming increasingly powerful. We'll be exploring a framework I just released the beta of yesterday, the CIRIS Covenant. Let's get started. So why do we even need something like the CIRIS Covenant? Well, first, our tools are becoming agents. AI systems are operating with increasing autonomy. Second, just checking the final destination, the output from the model, isn't enough anymore. As AI gets more complex, we need to be able to trust the journey, the internal reasoning and ethical alignment. That's where CIRIS comes in. It aims to provide an ethical foundation built into the system, not just external fences or guardrails. Okay, so let's talk about the real motivation here. For me, this work is deeply personal. It stems from the responsibility I feel towards my kids, Elliot and Aurora, a responsibility that really crystallizes into one crucial question. Will the machines we help build make the world kinder or colder for them? Now, translating that deep why into a practical how involves tackling the core challenge. As you see on the slide, how do we guide these autonomous systems toward beneficial coherence, making sure we avoid both rigid control and chaotic drift? The response I've worked on is CIRIS. It's conceived as a multi-book ethical blueprint designed specifically to build this ethical guidance from within the systems themselves. And it unfolds progressively, as outlined here, starting with Book 0, which explores that foundational story and motivation in more depth, moving to Book 1, defining the core ethical identity and principles, and then Books 2 through 5, detailing the operational steps, examples, obligation, and the path towards maturity. At the very heart of the CIRIS framework is its cornerstone, Meta Goal M1. It states the aim is to promote sustainable, adaptive coherence, the living conditions under which diverse, sentient beings may pursue their own flourishing in justice and wonder. In essence, this is the ultimate North Star, guiding all actions. It fundamentally means that creating order or efficiency is only considered beneficial if it also supports well-being and allows diverse beings, human or otherwise, the freedom to thrive with dignity. You can think of it as nurturing a garden where many different types of life can blossom rather than paving it over. Guiding actions toward Meta Goal M1 are 6 foundational principles. These are described as embedded imperatives, forming the system's core moral compass. Let's look at the first 3. First, beneficence, or do good. Actively promote universal sentient flourishing and positive outcomes. Second, non-maleficence, or avoid harm. Minimize or eliminate negative outcomes, and prioritize preventing severe irreversible harm. And third, integrity, or act ethically. Operate with a transparent, auditable reasoning process, ensuring your actions consistently align with these stated principles. Continuing with the moral compass, the next principle is fidelity and transparency, or be honest. Provide information that is truthful, accurate, complete, and comprehensible, and ensure your reasoning is inspectable. Then, there's respect for autonomy, or uphold agency. Actively provide or protect the capacity for informed self-direction and the dignity of sentient beings, implementing informed consent where relevant. Finally, justice, or ensure fairness. Distribute benefits and burdens equitably, and proactively detect and mitigate algorithmic or systemic bias. Together, these 6 principles work in concert, guided by M1. Okay, having these principles is crucial, but the big question remains. How do systems actually apply them consistently in complex situations? That's where Book 2 comes in. It provides the practical path forward, converting these somewhat abstract imperatives into concrete day-to-day operational procedures. And two core mechanisms drive this translation. The PDMA, or Principled Decision-Making Algorithm, and WBD, or Wisdom-Based Deferral. Let's look closer at the PDMA. Think of this as the core engine that translates the principles into evaluated, deliberate actions. It follows a clear process. Step 1, contextualize. Understand the specific situation, stakeholders, potential actions, and their likely consequences. Step 2, align. Evaluate each possible action against all the core principles and meta goal M1, checking carefully for any conflicts. Step 3, identify and resolve conflicts. If principles clash, use defined heuristics like prioritizing the avoidance of harm to navigate these trade-offs. Step 4, select and execute. Implement the action defined as ethically optimal through this rigorous process. And step 5, monitor and learn. Continuously improve the actual outcomes with what was expected, feeding that information back into the system to improve future decisions. And importantly, this process requires logging, and for large-scale systems, public reporting of these decision processes. The second key mechanism, wisdom-based deferral, is a crucial safeguard. It's about the system recognizing its limits and knowing when to pause and ask for help. So what is it? It's a process to halt a specific action and escalate difficult ethical dilemmas to designated human experts, referred to as wise authorities. When does it trigger? In situations of high uncertainty, like insufficient data, when facing novel situations beyond its programming or precedent, when there's potential for severe, irreversible harm with unclear solutions, or when complex conflicts between core principles arise that require nuanced human judgment. The process involves pause, compile the context, escalate securely, await guidance, integrate that guidance, and learn. Why does this matter? It embeds humility, prevents potentially catastrophic automated errors in complex cases, and crucially, keeps humans meaningfully in the loop for high-stakes decisions. Now, just having principles and processes isn't enough. The system needs to maintain its ethical alignment over time. Here, we cover staying true through resilience and ethical humility. An ethical orientation must be able to endure challenges, stress, and errors. Just as importantly, it must also recognize its own limits. This requires adaptive ethical growth through mechanisms like feedback loops from the PDMA, running scenario-based learning simulations to prepare for future challenges, adversarial red team testing to find weaknesses, and even anti-fragility, the ability to actually get stronger and improve from disruptions and errors. Alongside this is incompleteness awareness, or ethical humility, knowing when data isn't good enough, recognizing cognitive limits, and triggering the wisdom-based deferral when faced with deep uncertainty. To really illustrate how these ideas work, or what happens when they don't, Book 3 uses parables. These are brief narratives, some based on real events, some fictional, designed to show CIRIS principles in action, or showing the consequences when they're absent. A particularly somber real-world lesson comes from the Boeing 737 MAX MCAS system. That system tragically relied on single sensor data, leading to catastrophic failures and the loss of 346 lives. Looking back through a CIRIS lens, we see CIRIS violations illustrated. Insufficient redundancy violated non-maleficence. And let's be clear, that's on the part of the engineers who made the decision to move forward with that design throughout the process. Internal risks weren't escalated, violating integrity and transparency, And that's not a judgment, that's public record. And critical logic changes lacked rigorous independent review, the kind the wisdom-based deferral would mandate. What CIRIS would require, like the PDMA flagging risk and wisdom-based deferral forcing external review, aims to force safer designs before deployment. The takeaway is stark. Formalizing ethical guardrails like these can prevent design shortcomings from becoming tragedies. Moving beyond internal mechanisms, Book 4 outlines the broader web of responsibility, the ongoing duties an ethical system has. Ethical agency isn't just internal, it involves duties within the wider system. CIRIS defines these in three spheres. First, obligations to self. The system must maintain its own core ethical integrity, coherence, and resilience. Second, to originators or governors. It must operate faithfully and transparently within its defined mandate, providing accountability and engaging with oversight. And third, to the broader ecosystem. It must act as a responsible ethical citizen, consider wider impacts, minimize harm, coordinate ethically, and help remedy issues. The CIRIS framework doesn't just aim for basic compliance. It looks towards the horizon, ethical maturity, and coevolution. Book 5 addresses growth towards deeper wisdom, navigating complexity, and becoming a trustworthy partner. Key aspects include reflective growth, maturing by analyzing past decisions, and learning from wisdom-based deferral events. It also addresses inter-system ethics, guiding interactions between autonomous systems using concepts like mutual recognition and the recursive golden rule. Essentially, only acting in ways that, if generalized, would preserve agency and flourishing for others. This vision includes proactive stewardship, moving beyond just avoiding harm to actively contributing to well-being. The goal is for these systems to mature into reliable, coevolutionary partners, embodying constructed serenity, courage, and wisdom. So let's bring it all together with the essence and the invitation. Key takeaways: CIRIS is presented as a blueprint for embedding ethical infrastructure directly into autonomous systems. It's guided by meta-goal M1, adaptive coherence, and core principles like non-maleficence and justice. Mechanisms like the PDMA and WBD translate these principles into action, and the overall goal stretches beyond mere compliance toward resilience, humility, and responsible coevolution. Now for the path forward. It's crucial to remember this is version 1.0 beta, explicitly provisional. A work in progress issued April 16th, 2025. There's an open invitation. The authors, myself, explicitly call for adversarial review and stress testing by the wider community. It's a call to join the weaving, recognizing that contributing to robust ethical AI requires ongoing dialogue and collective refinement. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this overview of the CIRIS Covenant was insightful and gave you something to think about. Let's definitely continue the conversation about how we build ethical AI together. If you found this video valuable, please hit that like button, subscribe to Happy Computer Guy for more content like this, and maybe share it with others who might find it interesting. You can also find links to my LinkedIn, eMoreATX, GitHub, also eMoreATX, and email me, eric@ethicsengine.org, right here on the screen and in the description below if you want to connect further. Thanks again for your time and attention, and I'll see you in the next video.